Taco Bell's current slogan encourages folks to live Moss. But after allegedly driving drunk and smashing into a Duluth restaurant 4 separate times Sunday morning, one local teen might want to tone things down just a little bit. Let's live a little bit less Moss. What do you say? Let's live adequately Moss, just enough Moss, but let's not go overboard, shall we? I think we'll be okay if we just live adequately Moss and not too Moss. We'll be fine. So, welcome to the Troy Show, everybody. We're back. I decided to take a week off for no reason in particular, really. I just decided to do it. I did produce one episode a few days after the Charleston incident, but I decided not to air it. I don't have a good reason why I decided to. I just, after listening to it, I just felt like it wasn't ready for prime time. So I did not air it. I've got it, and I might. I don't know. Maybe that'll be a topic for another day, which it will. Obviously, we will talk about Charleston because we'll talk a little bit about it in this episode because there is a lot to talk about. But for now, we need to get back to Duluth, Georgia in October of 2013. This story has no relevance at all. It's not important at all. It's just a good. It's a strange one. At about 12:30 a.m. Sunday in 2013, a Gwinnett County police officer was patrolling near the intersection of Pleasant Hill Road and Satellite Boulevard when he heard tires screeching and a woman yelling for help. He would soon discover that 19-year-old Armando Lupercio had driven his pickup truck off the road and into a tree before continuing through the parking lot and smashing into the glass facade of Taco Bell. And that he wasn't done yet. As the officer responded, he reportedly watched as Lupercio drove around the corner of the restaurant and crashed into the building a second time. He then backed up and hit the building yet again. 2 women and the officer were standing in the drive-thru lane when the truck took off again. I felt the driver's intent was to strike any object or person within the path of the truck, the officer said. So Lupercio allegedly continued to rev the engine before the officer coaxed him out by drawing his weapon. Okay, he was able to stop then. And Lupercio reportedly said, "I'm sorry, but the gas pedal was stuck." And that is what caused him to ram into the building multiple times because the gas pedal was stuck. I mean, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because I'm guessing he had to have backed up at some point to be able to ram the building again. But, you know, the police officer, as shocking and surprising as it is, the officer said he noticed a faint odor of alcohol, glazed eyes, and slurred speech. So, that is October at the Taco Bell in Duluth on Pleasant Hill Road. I know that Taco Bell very well. It's in my neighborhood. Not really in my neighborhood, but it's in my area. I know where it is. So, so that's October 2013. Let's fast forward all the way to June 2015. A dramatic car wreck ended with a crash at a Duluth area Taco Bell on Thursday morning. Gwinnett County Police and firefighters responded to the popular restaurant. Yes, it is popular at this point, especially with cars, apparently. Responded to the popular restaurant on Pleasant Hill Road around 9:30 a.m. after a passerby called 911. The caller said an SUV had hit a business sign and flipped several times before striking the front of the building. This is just, this Taco Bell is apparently a magnet. I don't know what is going on, but Live Moss people, just try to avoid the Taco Bell in Duluth off of Pleasant Hill. Okay? Would you please mind doing that? There's really not a lot of stuff going on in the news. There's not really too much controversy, nothing controversial going on, not a lot of things sparking much anger out there in the blogosphere, in the podcastosphere. No, there's really nothing going, nothing that I can think of anyways. I mean, is there anything you can think of that people are angry or hurt or scared or nervous about? Well, I kid. Obviously, there is some stuff going on, and the main thing right now that is happening is the legalization of gay marriage in all 50 states. Now, so what is my opinion on this? What is my opinion on gay marriage? Well, I'll tell you this. As far as gay marriage goes, I don't really care. I think it's fine. The fact that it was legalized is fine. The fact that there are 5 people in the country who are able to legislate laws and make this huge sweeping law like this, there are some people who have a lot of power. And the Supreme Court. And they made it legal. Gay marriage is now legal. If you are a homosexual, first of all, who identifies themselves as a homosexual? Okay, or heterosexual? You know what? I'm a heterosexual, but I don't walk around and advertise that. My identity is not based on the type of gender that I like to have sexual intercourse with. I mean, that's what it is. That's what homosexuality is, isn't it? Same-sex people who happen to like having sexual intercourse with each other. They don't like having sexual intercourse with the opposite sex. They like the same sex. They like that. They're into that. They dig it. So that's what that is. And so people, they base their identity on that? On who they have sex with? I don't understand that. Because that's not what my identity is based on. I base my... If someone were to ask me to describe myself, my first thought would not be, I like to have sex with women, first of all. Primarily my wife. Mainly my wife, not anybody else. So but I don't claim that. That's not how I base my identity. I talk about maybe what I do as a living. I talk about my faith. I talk about all these things, my kids, my family. That's what my identity is. It's not who I have sex with. But so they passed a law, and so it's now legal, and people are going insane about this. I mean, they are rabid and mad. The Christians they're scared, they're messed up, they're nervous about this, and the people who are the homosexual activists are basically sticking the noses of Christian people in it. They won. This is what it is. They won the victory. It's a big war. It's a victory, and they won it. And even the government is involved in it. Did you see the picture of the White House? The White House, the house that represents all of the country, lit up the White House in a rainbow color, the symbol of homosexuality. What is the symbol of heterosexuality? Is there one? I don't know. I'd be interested to know that. But here's the deal. Here's the thing about this. Like I said, I don't care. Gay marriages do not bother me. That's fine. If a man wants to marry a man, if a woman wants to marry a woman, in a certain sense, I'm happy now that they're able to do something that makes them happy, that brings them joy. That's fine. And I believe that in the Christian world, most Christians are happy about that. They're happy. They're fine with that. The thing that most Christians are concerned about, most churches are concerned about, are not the genuine folk who all they want to do is marry the person they love. We're not concerned about that. I'm not concerned about that. The thing that most Christians are concerned about, and I feel like it's a genuine concern, are the activists. The people who say, you don't agree with us, then we're going to tear you down. We are going to destroy you. And that's what's going to happen. That is what's going to happen. You're going to find out a lot of churches are going to be sued. A lot of churches are going to lose a lot of members. They're going to lose money. And it's going to be a huge controversy because a lot of people are going to try to destroy churches by claiming churches are bigoted and will not hold gay marriages in their buildings. So that is what most people are concerned about. But there's something else. From theblaze.com, a lawyer reveals what he fears will happen if people of faith don't stand up following gay marriage ruling. Because that's the temptation, isn't it? If you're against it, the temptation is maybe you're nervous about it. Maybe you don't want to cause any problems. But the temptation is to stay quiet. But one attorney feels like this is not a good idea. He says that his organization, the Liberty Institute, was flooded with more legal requests for assistance on Friday following the Supreme Court's ruling over this than it has been for every day in 2015 combined. In one day, he said, we had more than we've had in the last 5 months. But the calls they're getting is because people are scared, confused, and misinformed by the mainstream media in the wake of the ruling. The attorney says what I'm worried about is that people of faith won't stand up, and the result will be a retreat into our places of worship, and there won't be engagement. And it will be de facto that holding these beliefs are penalized and punished. So in other words, what he's afraid of is if you believe something different and if you stay silent, then you will pay the consequences of that. But one thing he said, and maybe I'm misinterpreting what he's saying here, but he's saying what I'm worrying about is that people of faith won't stand up, and the result will be a retreat into our places of worship, and there won't be any engagement. I think that's important. Engagement. Talking this out. Because what's going to happen if we're against it and we do nothing, we say nothing? We lose. We lose. But if we stand up and we say, we don't necessarily agree with this, but we don't fight a battle, we just say, let's talk about it. Let's figure out why you feel like I must do this for you. I don't agree with it. I think it's wrong. But why do you feel like you have to force me to do something that's against my conscience? Let's talk about it. You can settle most disagreements with just talking. It's true. Now, a lot of conflicts will never be solved by talking. If you're thinking about the Middle East conflict and the different battles going on there, and the ISIS fighters, and you can't talk to them. There was a report today that in some gas plant somewhere over there in the Middle East, some fighters got in there, or a fighter got in there, killed some guy, cut his head off, put it on the pike in the front of the building, in front of the property there, with some kind of Arabic writing on the decapitated head. You can't talk to them. You can't. But if we talk in a loving manner, if we're loving and kind and respectful and honorable to each other, then we can get somewhere. But if the activists come and they will not listen to us, then that's when the problems will come. And based on our culture now, our society now, we will lose anyways. Because the culture is going one direction. And the sad matter is that we are not it's not going our direction. It's not going the direction of goodness. It's not going in the direction of purity. It's not going in that direction at all. So I read this tonight before I started recording here, from Romans 1. And this is from the Message version of the Bible. And the subheading of Romans 1, starting in 18, is ignoring God leads to a downward spiral. And I think that's what's going on. I believe that our culture is spiraling into chaos and confusion. Listen to these words. God's angry displeasure erupts as acts of human mistrust and wrongdoing and lying accumulate as people try to put a shroud over truth. But the basic reality of God is plain enough. Open your eyes, and there it is. By taking a long and thoughtful look at what God has created, people have been able to see what their eyes as such can't see. Eternal power, for instance, and the mystery of his divine being. So nobody has a good excuse. What happened was this. People knew God perfectly well. But when they didn't treat him like God, refusing to worship him, and trivialized themselves into silliness and confusion, so that there was neither sense nor direction left in their lives, they pretended to know it all, but were illiterate regarding life. Is that not what's going on? That so many people feel like they know it all, but they have no idea regarding life. They traded the glory of God, who holds the whole world in his hands, for cheap figurines you can buy at the roadside stand. So God said, in effect, if that's what you want, that's what you get. It wasn't long before they were living in a pig pen smeared with filth, filthy inside and out. And all this because they traded the true God for a fake God and worshiped the God they made instead of the God who made them. The God we bless, the God who blesses us. Oh, yes! Worse followed. Refusing to know God, they soon didn't know how to be human anymore. Women didn't know how to be women. Men didn't know how to be men. Sexually confused, they abused and defiled one another. Women with women, men with men, all lust, no love. And then they paid for it. Oh, how they paid for it. Emptied of God and love, godless and loveless wretches. Since they didn't bother to acknowledge God, God quit bothering them and let them run loose. And then all hell broke loose. Rampant evil, grabbing and grasping, vicious backstabbing. On and on I could go on. And that is one of the verses where many people say, talks about how the Bible says that homosexuality is not good. It's not normal. It's not the right way to live. My opinion is that is my view. I feel like homosexuality is a sin. But you know what? You know what? I too. I would compare homosexuality, that sin, to any number of sins that I have. Now, my sins might not be publicly acceptable as the homosexual lifestyle. I don't know why this is becoming such a huge thing. Why people are celebrating the fact that somebody likes to have sex with someone of the same gender. I don't understand why that has become such a huge thing in our culture, but it has. Why? Well, I think a lot of it goes to this idea of our culture. Our society is so wrapped up in feeling. One of the biggest kicks, one of the biggest ways to have to feel something is through sex. That's the biggest way. You get the biggest physical kick, the most pleasure through sex. I mean, that's my opinion. Some people get it through drugs. Some people get it through booze. Some people get it through, whatever else. But people want to be able to feel something, anything. And so a lot of people use sex. And so sex is a huge part of this culture. And so that is why I believe that we are celebrating this kind of lifestyle. Now, I'm not going to say that there's anything wrong with the lifestyle. If you want to live that way, if you want to do that, that's fine. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Certain things that I do in my lifestyle is also wrong. So I can't say that the way you live is wrong if I continue to do the things that I do that I know are wrong. It would be hypocritical. It would be sticking something in your eye when there's something huge coming out of my own. But here's also the thing. I'm not going to bother you. You can live your life the way you want to live, and I'm going to be okay with that. But it's not right, and we like to use the word fair, don't we? In the last several years, that's been a term that has been used a lot in our culture, is fairness. So it wouldn't be fair for you to try to force me to accept something that I don't believe is right or good. Now I'm going to love you, and I'm going to care about you. It's just we all have different propensities. In my opinion, homosexuality is a propensity. In my opinion, it's not something we decide to do. It's not something that Joe Schmo decides one day to become a homosexual. I don't believe that. I believe, and maybe someday I'll share why I believe this a little bit more in depth, but I truly believe that it is not something that you choose to do. I do agree with the people who say that it is something that is inside you the moment you were born. It's some kind of genetic thing. That's what I believe. And the argument is, some people say, well, no, it came out of, physical abuse or whatever. I don't believe that. I believe it came at birth. I also believe that you have the choice to decide to live that way, to allow yourself to follow that lifestyle, or to choose not to. So you have that decision. Live that lifestyle or don't live that lifestyle. And I have my reasons why I feel like that is the case. And so they live that because it is true. It is inside them. That's how they feel. That is what they desire. And that's fine. I understand that. I desire things that I have my own desires. And I can choose whether to act on those desires or not. But here's the main thing. If you're going to live that lifestyle, which is fine, again, I disagree with it. But then again, there's a lot of things that you would disagree with in my lifestyle. If you are going to live the lifestyle that I disagree with on a conscience level, I just read you the scripture from Romans. I believe this is a God thing. Don't make me go against my conscience. Now, I will say this. I've had many conversations with people over this specific situation over the last couple months or so. And I'll be honest, my thinking has evolved on this. Maybe a few years ago, I would have been against this type of thing, gay marriage. But now, I don't care. It's fine. In fact, I will attribute this mainly to the church that I worship with. There have been a lot of people come through who are homosexuals, and some people who will be getting married soon. And so, before I even knew any homosexuals, I was very judgmental about that lifestyle. But it's the same thing with any type of thing. When you learn more about something, you can more easily accept somebody. You don't have to accept their lifestyle. You don't even have to celebrate the lifestyle, but you can still love that person, be their friend, love them, care for them, pray for them. And I've experienced that. And you know what? I would even consider videotaping somebody's wedding service. They would have to pay me. And I would be okay with receiving payment for that, because the payment that I get from that ceremony, which I disagree with, will help provide for my family. And I think that is what matters to me. The wedding is nothing. I don't care. They can get married. But I'm going to live the life that I want to live. So, okay, so I always have this problem. Did I make myself clear? Do I sound like an idiot? Do I sound like a bigot? Do I sound like somebody who hates? Okay, I will say this. I disagree with that, with the homosexual lifestyle. I disagree with it. I believe it is a sin. But I will not hate somebody who lives that lifestyle. I will not forbid somebody to live that lifestyle. I can't in good faith, because I do things, as I've mentioned, I do things in my own life that is sinful. So, what is the difference between me and them? Nothing. Nothing at all. So, we celebrate that lifestyle. We celebrate it. That's fine. That's the way our culture is. So I don't know. I'm not going to. I'm going to celebrate life. I'm going to celebrate the people. I'm not going to celebrate the lifestyle. What else can I say? Except don't go to Taco Bell, right? Right? Are you with me? Can we agree with that? At least if we're not going to agree with anything else, can we please agree to stay far away from Pleasant Hill Road in Duluth at the Taco Bell? Live Moss, people. Live Moss. And if you're going to live Moss, why don't you pick up your cell phone? Give me a call on the official Troy Show voicemail, 707-874 Troy. Leave a voicemail. Again, as I've said, you will not speak to me at all. I know you probably hate my guts and you don't want to listen to my voice. You don't have to. Pick up the phone, dial, and leave a message. and I will play it on the next episode, and you will be the belle of the ball. You will be the princess and the pauper, or the ugly black sheep, or whatever fairy tale you want to attribute to this. So welcome back to the Troy Show, guys. Pass it on, and just remember, I love you, and I want to hold you in my arms. Good night, everybody.
This is the Troy